Alright, today we're going to take a look at the menu on the Nikon D3100. First, a quick reminder. To move around the menu and change options, we use the arrow keys on the right side of the camera. Now, starting with the shooting menu, the first option here lets us reset all the settings back to their default values, in case you want to start from scratch. Next up, we have the picture control. This is where we choose the look of our images. We can select standard, neutral, vivid, monochrome, portrait, and landscape. After that, we have the image quality. We already saw this in the quick menu, but here we have the same options available again. We also have the image size, just like before. This is another way to change it without using the quick menu. Moving on to white balance, here we have auto, incandescent, fluorescent, direct sunlight, and the other options we've already talked about. Next is the ISO, where we control the sensor sensitivity. Right below that, we have the auto ISO. This allows the camera to adjust ISO automatically based on the lighting. We can turn it on or off, and set a maximum or minimum ISO, as well as a minimum shutter speed. Then we have the active delighting, an automatic distortion control. In most cases, it's a good idea to leave this turned on. Next is color space. Here we can choose between sRGB and Adobe RGB. We also have noise reduction options, which are generally best left enabled. Now let's talk about autofocus. Here we can choose the autofocus area for the viewfinder or for the live view mode. We also have autofocus assist, which we can turn on or off depending on the situation. Next is metering. We can choose between matrix, center weighted, or spot metering. After that, we move into the video settings. Here we can change the video quality, which we've already seen, and decide whether we want to record video with sound on or off. The next option is flash. This is where we configure the flash either in automatic or manual mode. We also have the options to reset any settings we've changed, just like I showed you earlier. Now let's move on to the settings menu. Here again, we can reset the camera settings and confirm whether we want to keep or discard the changes we've made. We also have an option to reset the memory. Since there's no memory card inserted right now, we can't reset it. Next is the screen brightness. I personally keep mine at -1 to save battery, but you can adjust it anywhere from -3 to +3. Then we have the menu display style. You can choose between the classic layout or the graphical layout. Both use basic colors. If we exit the menu, you can see that I'm using a green background. Next are the automatic information display options, which depend on what information is shown on the screen. We also have sensor cleaning options. We can clean the sensor right now, clean it on power up, on power off, or both, or turn it off completely. Next is the mirror lockup. Since this is a DSLR and it uses a mirror, this option allows us to clean the sensor manually. This is more of an advanced feature. After that, we have the video system, NTSC or PAL. NTSC is used in the Americas and PAL is used in Europe. Then we have the HDMI settings, including HDMI resolution, when the camera is connected, and HDMI device control. Next is the flicker reduction. We can choose between 50 Hz or 60 Hz. In this case, we use 60 Hz here. Now we have the time zone settings. This controls the time recorded in your photos, and you can change it depending on where you are. Then we have a date and time. This can be adjusted individually so the correct information is saved with your photos. You can also choose the date format, year, month, date, month, day, year, or day, month, year. Next is power saving mode. We also have daylight saving time, which is linked to the time zone. Here we can change the camera language. I usually keep mine in English because that's more comfortable for me. But if you want to switch it, let's say to Spanish, you can do it right here. As you can see, all the menu options are now in Spanish. If that's easier for you, I definitely recommend changing the language. Next, we have automatic image rotation. This rotates your photos depending on how you hold the camera. Let's keep going. Now we have the auto off timers. This controls how long the screen stays on before it turns off to save battery. Then we have the self timer delay. This is useful when you want to be in the photo and need a few seconds to get into position. Next is the file numbering. This controls how your photos are numbered, and you can turn it on or off. Now let's talk about the function button. This is the side button on the camera, and we can customize it here. I have mine set to ISO, but you can also assign it to image quality or white balance. To set it up, we go to the menu, then the settings menu, scroll down to function button, and choose the option we want. In my case, I have it set to ISO sensitivity. So when I press this button, I use it together with a dial to change the ISO. You'll see the value turn yellow, which means it's active. Then, using the dial, I can increase or decrease the ISO 400, 800, 1600, 3200, H1, H2, and back down again. This makes it really easy to control ISO while taking photos or recording video without having to dig into the menu or the quick menu again. And lastly, we have the recently used settings. This gives us a short list of options we've already used, so we can access them quickly. And that's it for this video. If this tutorial helped you, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next video.